again. Um, yeah, I'm not exact. I'm not entirely sure what we're gonna end up doing. But well, we'll try. I think I'm gonna stream for like an hour and a half. Yeah, yeah, an hour and a half is fine. Um, so what happened last time? We went to our first active career thing with Grim Reaper stuff. That was fun. Had our funeral, which was dope. Um, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So let's get back into it. Do, do, do. Okay. What did I want from you? Oh yeah, I feel like we were grinding before. Grinding. Um, dead body, down swinging, fight Grim. Oh, specifically the Grim Reaper. Okay. Okie dokes. Right. Um, hmm. Writing skill, make contact with Edith. Hmm. Tree in Ravenwood's neighborhood. Okay, let me do that really quick. Let me do that so quickly. Oh, I knew I forgot something. I forgot to post it on live. Yes, obviously. Okay, so Ravenwood, Morningvale. Morningvale, which one's this one? Crow's Crossing. So there should be a tree around my home. But where the heck is it? Hmm. Well, in the meantime, she can do that. She can practice her writing. But I'm trying to find the tree. Like, the tree. I don't know what it looks like. Uh, oh, sorry. Apologies. What's this for? Oh, sorry again. Oh god. Oh, is it this one? Nice. Listen to whispers. Use intuition. Summon Alice. Let's just see what we can do here. Listen to whispers. Summon Alice. Use intuition. Okay. Um, what are you? Okay, whatever, whatever. But yeah, how is your week going? I have been so out of like the political stuff that like I didn't even know that what's his face did the pointy things. um, sorry, I'm just trying to see if I missed anything. Today is a full moon, so here's what you can do. Branches, whisper away. Huh. Justice. Hey, I got one. Nice. So can I not like do anything with it? Huh. Well, the answer you seek cannot be found. Interesting. Hmm. Alice. Oh. I can. Okay. I have to summon Alice first, I guess. Well, yeah. The whole like TikTok thing, and then everything with. Hold on one second. Make sure I'm still alive. Should be alive. Why is it not working? Okay. Just making sure. I'm just making sure. Um. There we go. Nice. Okay. Don't remember who Alice is, but feeling very unsatisfied. Man, I don't care. I hope that helps. Um, you queer baited me. I don't ever want to speak to you ever again. Know more about them. Summon Alice. But yeah, I've just the less time I spend with must warn you. Elder exhaustion is creeping closer. Huh. So that's it. Well, this is the full moon, so like I want to. How do I get her? Dead body, simoleons. Yes. That haunts her with a good starting point of finding her, locating her mom, Alice, okay, who often hovers near the garden tree and window. Another good place to investigate might be Well of Longing and Regret. Okay, okay. Alright, so let's go to the other spot. Meet me at our spot. Yeah. Hi, sweet. How you doing, sweetheart? How is everything? Whispering Glen. Okay, so it's over here somewhere. Let's go to the cemetery. But hi, how are you? How is everything? I was just talking about how like me being away from the internet has been extremely helpful. Especially not being on Twitter. Ooh, Twitter is so bad. um, and then there's a whole oh gosh, it's a long story. It stressed me out. Just think about it, stressed me out. And well, how are you? I'm good. Yesterday I was having a hard time because my new medication, but I feel better now. I'm taking it properly this time. I was like, oh, maybe I can just, skim some off the top. Nope, I have to take the whole thing, else I'm gonna feel real bad. But yeah, I'm having a good time. I've been having a really hard time sleeping. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but I would just toss and turn for like hours. It's so annoying. I can't remember the last time I had a good night's sleep. Genuinely don't remember. Okay, where is the will? Not the will. The fountain. It's just a regular fountain, right? Yeah. I'm looking for the fountain. The fountain. But yeah, don't forget to take care of yourselves, okay, kids? You're gonna need read epitaph. Why not? Why the heck not? She needs something to do anyway. Um, there's the podium. Sure, why not? That's good. Take those meds properly. Yeah, I'm trying. Also, if anybody else is taking their medication, don't forget to take it now. Take it, take it. Because it's no, it's the same one. Um, reads pretty bleak. Good for you. Good for you, King. Where is the fountain? I found it the first time I was playing. Um, who's that? Oh, this is my Black Widow sim. I was using her to play Lovestruck, but I just didn't feel like doing the Black Widow stuff, so I moved her over here. She is having a midlife crisis, like actually. Um, so I like having her here. It's nice. It's fun. There's some dynamic. Oh, I've seen this already. Um, where can I find this freaking fountain? I know I found it before. So where is it? It's one of those reasons why I can't wait to stop playing on my laptop because my god, there's so many times when you pass something and you can't see it because it's like not rendered yet. It's very upsetting. I'm going in circles, going in circles. But yeah, life is good. I'm feeling pretty resilient when it comes to like tests and stuff. Is very helpful. Um, yeah, I feel like we're having a good time. Good times. Where is my thing? But yeah, I was prescribed like sleeping pills months ago. But the doctor was like, if you really don't need it, don't take them because a lot of people like take them and then they can't stop. So I'm just gonna toss and turn till my back and my neck hurts. My neck, my back, um, the bottom of my feet also. Okay. Yeah, I can't find it. Am I being stupid? Where is it? Hello. Why can't I find you? Oh gosh. Oop, my alarm went off. Hmm. Yeah, we got big things planning for this year. Oh, there you are. Thank God. Use intuition. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, sweet God. Sorry, I think I'm catching a cold. Well, I think I said that yesterday, but that's besides the point. Oh, big stretch. Whew. Oh, my back. Okay, I'm fine. Literally just complain about how I can't sleep well. My back is killing me and my neck. Evil! In the dead of night, evil may beckon as if. I'm sorry, I'm really tired. tug on people's own project streams with the hypnotic stare. Anyone can fall prey to his influence, and the longer one stays within the trance, the more susceptible it is, more powerful they become. Okay. Um, wish for easier to manage needs. Courage for Judith. Already has the card. This stays with me then. Okay, okay. Look and love, skill gains, untold riches. Oh, there she is. I have to pause. I'm scared. She looks actually scary. I have to pause. Who made this into a horror game? It's spooky. Oh gosh. But yeah, I'm trying to think because here's the thing. I've always wanted to make like a political podcast, but it doesn't really mesh well with The Sims. So I was like, hey, I could just like do that on like my laptop or like attempt to communicate. Ask about Atlas Sara near the Guardian tree. Oh, okay. Um, I'll attempt to communicate anyway, just to see what I'm preparing myself for. All right. She looks horrifying. She looks like that girl from The Ring. You know the one, right? That's what she looks like. Why is she red? An angry dead child is not something you usually see. She's dripping. Oh, did she drown? And she just happens to be red because she's angry? Oh, she gave me a thumbs up. Aw, thanks, Edith. That's so nice. It means so much coming from you. Aw. Okay, now I need to go back to Mom's house. Okay. Yeah, let's go back here. Find our mother. I want to go out as well. Oh, you know what? I've been interested in putting on like gel nails since I want my nails done and I can only like just paint on them. I can't like extend them or anything. So I do think a nail set might be in our future. So we'll see. I want the smartwatch first. um, First, be open for further conversations. So it may be good time to build up. Relationship with her, tried lightfully though, many negative interactions, lose attempt to communicate again. Okay. Um, yeah, it feels good to be streaming. Again, I don't know how much longer it's gonna be. Um, okay, let us just do everything again. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. What's this? Wait, that's Edith from Encounter Edith. No wonder so many Sims are afraid of her. She's delightfully ominous. Vivi is feeling nervous. Lacking magnum opus from midlife crisis. Sorry, Queen. Sorry about that, bruv. Um, dude, my nose is absolutely bugging me. Hey, the star. I want all of these so bad. It's actually not fair. I want all of them, and that's just not cool. Beauty bits of moss hanging. Surely. Interesting. Whispering Glen Crater. Me. Wait. Waxing. First quarter. What are those? Are those just like the tarot cards? What is this talking about? Is it telling me what to get? The cards? Beautiful bog. Listener offspring. The goat ancestor spectre. Very good. Huh. Interesting. I'm trying to summon her. I want to ask a question. Can I ask question? Alice. Okay, fine. Fine, fine. If you want to be that way, fine. Jeez. Oh! What in God's name was that? Did you guys hear that? What the heck was that? I think it was in the game, but why did it sound like that? What the heck? What would have made it sound like that? Okay, okay, wait. The option to summon Alice is not there anymore. Does that mean she's here? There's no option to summon Alice, so is she already here or what? And I know this is probably really off topic, but that tree reminds me of the tree that Inuyasha was stuck to in Inuyasha. Like I see that tree and all I hear is dun, 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 dun. That's what I hear. That's all I can hear. Oh, who's this? You could show me. Okay. Why do I always do this to myself? I was wondering if you could text her on Social Bunny. Do I know your Meemaw? I do not. Okay. Whispering Glen Crater. You come back. Oh. If I come back every. Okay. Trying to understand what I'm supposed to do here. Okay, let's see if we can go back to Edith. Let's see what we can do with that. Wait, I'm also trying to cut back on coffee again. You know how it is. I just can't help myself. Just love me some coffee. Yeah, with like the new medicine and stuff. Yeah, it's hard, but we can make it through. And I'm so happy I'm not the only person who said this, but I read somewhere, I can't remember where it was, that like America is like low key not the place to be anymore. And it's like it has been that way for me for a very long time. I was like, why would I want to go to like a glorified Kingston? I don't want to do that. um, but yeah, it makes me wonder who's gonna be the next like world peace like person thing, dude. It can't be China, cause um, where's my little girl? Yeah, it can't be 16, 17 yet. So we should wait until the time is right. Where am I? The well, right? The well is what I'm looking for. Is that Edith? Yeah. Almost passed it. Almost passed it. Okay. Oh yeah, I had a thing where like it would make it easier for me, right? Near the guardian tree. Yeah, I did that. Let me see. Skill gains, career success, easy to manage leads, a long life. Okay. Well, I have the courage to face either, so should be okay. Should be okay. I'm scared. I'm worried. I do love when they have like these side characters in Sims games. It's so fun. I enjoy it very much. Ah, yes. Yes. Come on. Any day now, Queen. Any second now, cuz. I really wish they had like scooters and stuff instead of bicycles. Even if we don't get cars, it'd be nice to have like scooters or like buses or whatever. Just give me something. I want it to actually look like somebody's coming to pick me up. That's what I want. The old carpool is good for the environment and whatnot. So that's what I want. Why are you guys stuck? Why are you stuck? Okay, here we go again. Here we go again. Oh, it jumped all the way up. Oh my gosh. How? Huh. Okay, sorry. You guys didn't see, but my mouth was absolutely just wide open. As for Mark of Edith, what is this? You know what, why not? Is it like a werewolf thing? I feel like it would be. Let me see. Making deals with mysterious children by a mysterious well in a mysterious town. Sounds like the best idea ever. Yeah, what is this? Vivi made a positive impression on Edith. She better make a wish at the well of longing and regret. Okay, that actually scared me. I don't like the sounds that come out of your mouth. I do not like the sounds that are coming out of your mouth. Okay. Um Skill games. Luck and love, career success. Let's do career success. You know, let's do all of it. Let me save really quick because we somehow managed to become friends. And then after that, then we can see what we got going on here. Yeah, I think I'm getting. I've talked about this before, but like one of those times where if I had a standing desk, things would be so much easier. Cause I'm just sitting here. It's chilly out, all that stuff. Not ready to talk. She could keep trying though, especially for Mark of Edith and chance of a better outcomes at the well. Okay. Oh, I thought it was gonna give me a promotions boost. I didn't think it was gonna do that. Huh. Dun, dun, dun. Gratefully rich. Hmm. Needs to wait till for doing that again. Seconds later, her phone rings and sees a notification. Vivi has been promoted. 32 per hour. Gossip about the dead. Jeez. Next shift is Thursday at 9. How much we got going on here? Gardening. Have deep conversation. Great. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be fantastic. Okay, so we should go to the crypt. Potentially find treasure. Okay, so let's go do that. Quickly, let's go. Gonna see if we can find some rare collectibles before we go to. Well, I don't actually know what day it is. Yesterday, I was convinced it was like Thursday. Sorry. But yeah, it felt like it was yesterday. Not like it's really easy for my Sims. But oh wait, am I already at the cemetery? Okay. Um, here we go again. Just never remembering what I was talking about. What was I talking about? I'm sure it's no big deal. If it was important, I would have remembered. Crypt of Eternity. Okay. Tell ghost stories to who? Okay, let's do this. She's confident. I think we probably needed food. Anybody got any food for me? Anybody grill? Anybody on the grill? No, I haven't seen my wife all stream. Where you been? Don't switch control. What do I bring her here? Oh, there you are. You have anything in your pockets? Nope. Whole lot of nothing. Okay. Alright, let's keep going. I really need a rare artifact. So I'm trying my best this. Oh gosh. But yeah, I miss my big computer. I miss it, I miss it. Ugh. Everything, I just feel so tired. I feel sick. Ugh. Um, I had breakfast already. I had like tea. So I'll take that. I need to refill my Jesus, I need to refill my water. Obviously. I need to dye some of my clothes. The blacks have washed out. So I only have like very limited choice of clothing. Um so if I could get her away, then that would be great. Rummage sarcophagus. Nice. I got on so yep, that one. That's exactly what I meant. Okay. Nice. Alright, so we did that. What else can we do? Increase the pace. Level 7 writing skill. Say less. We got you there, bud. Try to fight. Talk your way out. Please don't fight with me. I'm not trying to fight a monster with my bare hands. No thanks. No thank you. Dude, I'm so out of it. I keep slipping in and out of like being conscious. It's like I realized, and then it's like, dang, I just spoke like half a sentence and I have no idea what I was talking about. There's probably I was gonna say there's probably like a speech pattern that I don't realize when I'm out of it, but like I do realize pretty quick. I think it could just come off as being like not interested though, so that's probably why. But a lot of people like my hair. I don't know if you guys saw, um, but I have pink hair now. It's so fun. I love it. If the hair is like super soft, it's great. 10 out of 10. Exit. That's okay. Okay. Yeah, we need to go home and learn how to write. Exactly. Oh my gosh, there's kids these days who are talking about how like, oh, you don't need to read. There's Chat GPT. It'll read it. It'll give you the summary. It's like that's not what that means. I have to join her. I'm pretty sure. So that's what we're gonna do. This is our second active day. Hopefully, it goes better than the first. I feel like the first we didn't get gold, but we got really close to it. So let's see what we can do. I have homework to do. Oh God, there are things that need to be done. That's one thing why like I want like my brother to get a car, cause I could just sit in the car and just sleep. That'd be so great. But no, I only get dropped off halfway, so I have to wake up anyway. Nice. Emergency has malfunction, causing things to other types to spill over into the world. Grim needs your help. Okay. Isn't it over here? I love that there's a board icon. Another opening to another dimension. Once you've seen one otherworldly fissure into the beyond, you've seen it all. That's literally what I was saying. That's what I was saying. When I was like, oh, it's a lot. It looks like a realm of magic one. Would you look at that? Let's do cheerful. Oh, I was looking if there's a rec. A, 1 second. I was looking if there was whatever. Who cares? Ignore me. I'm half asleep. Um. Oh, I was like friends of the world. That's not me. Different sim. Okay. Repair. Close Netherland fissures. Close. Okay. Yeah, it really is like realm of magic because you had to like collect these things. Well, not exactly like this, but you had to collect stuff in order for you to level up for your magic. So I find this to be fascinating. Sorry, you have no good taste. Jeez, this is so much fun. Oh, there's a cliff. Oh, there's a cliff. Oh, it's not so bad. The camera was literally gonna fall off the cliff. It's not so bad. Um, she's still not having a good time. I need one more fissure to get rid of. Hmm. Repair. Oh, there's a bowl that's broken. Oh. Hello? Oh, it's this one. Jesus. Everything looks the same to me. They're all the same. Jesus. Um, expel the mischievous ghost. Is this the mischievous ghost? Is that the one? She's white like me, so I don't think so. It looks like she's supposed to be here. Okay, what's we this? Okay, take it easy. How long is that gonna go on for? Upstairs neighbors activities. What? Hello? Can I have this, please? Oh God, that's so annoying. Okay. Mischievous ghost. How do I expel you? Ghost scare? I don't know. Do. Today's gonna be such a long day. I'm up and I'm not going back to bed until like 10 o'clock, like PM. Jesus. It's just so Ugh. Okay, I need one more fissure. Recalibrate Grimm's Slablet. Alright, say less, we got you. Recalibrate. Boom. Let me save again because I'm scared. Do 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 do. But seriously, guys, thank you so much for being here. You're so nice. What the heck? Me streaming in the middle of the night. But it's the only time I have. My school is so ugh. So ugh. The only time I don't have classes is Friday, but I have work on Friday, so I'd still have to be outside anyway. um, are you the one? Yes. Okay. How do I expel you? Ghost scare, jump scare. Come on, funny, rude. Um. Oh, is it Ghostmaster I should be looking at? Comfort abilities? No. Detect current mood? No. She absolutely hated that. Good for you. Good for us, though. Good for us. Why is this not working? Oh boy. Floating objects. Oh, she has to be haunting something. Okay, I got so confused. I was like, what? She has to actually haunt something first. Oh, okay. That's probably why she was in the closet for so long. That makes sense. Plan reaping schedules. Yep. Any day now, queen. Okay. Um, expel ghost. Nice. Now, in the meantime, where the heck is the fissure? I need the other one. Where is the other one? My question is, I don't know where this lot ends and where it begins. So I could be looking over here, or maybe not. Um. It better not be under the house. Because if it's under the house, I'll get extremely upset. I'll get very upsetty spaghetti. Okay. I definitely just passed out again. Mouth will just wide open. Okay. Why can't I find this stupid thing? Oh, brother. It's upsetting. I guess you're bored. Where am I supposed to close nothing and fissures, man? I'm trying. Fish located on the lot and select close. I'm trying. Workday will end soon. Stay late. Let's see. Analyze death threats. Sure. Are any of these actually like doable? Recalibrate. Read ebook. Notebook. Analyze death threats. Maybe it's on the computer only. Come on. This game is acting so laggy. Hello? There we go. Analyze death threats. Nice. I'm trying to find the fissure. Where can I find the fissure? Oh, it's inside the house. Okay. I knew that. I knew that. Nice. I do like this whole ghost thing though. It's pretty cool. It's pretty sick. There's a more to life. Stats say that death by killer rabbit is not trending as high as it should be. This gives Carver an idea. What if Grimm could start a petting zoo featuring the fluffy little fluffy little monsters? Idea could certainly increase the stats, but hold this endeavor or with endeavor. Surely we could. We would need to warn Sims of the potential danger, or do we? Fluffy pet. So then they'll take it. Yes, yes. Impressed by initiative, scouts in the perfect location is in progress as we speak. Nice. Any day now. Any day now, queen. Any second now, gorgeous. There we go. Mentor, coworker. Hold on. Everybody hold on. Boss, the Grim Reaper. Cool. Great. Um, Rainbow Bridge, Apple Music. Um, hmm. Order to clean. Why would I ever do something like that? Repair the portal. Yay! Where is it? Where is it? Oh, Jesus. There it is. Yay! Huzzah! I still need to mentor a coworker. Billy Cheek. Billy Butt Cheeks. Fake bad news. Was it friendly? Wait. Ghost Mastery. There it is. Oh, no. Nope. Deep thoughts? Nope. Nope. I'll just take this one. While they're practicing reaping and choose mentor. Okay. So while they're practicing. Don't don't stop now. I saw you. You were practicing just now. There it is. Yay. Okay. Might not have enough time, as usual, but it's worth a shot. I was gonna say I can't wait for you guys to see my room. Nothing has changed yet. Nothing's changed. I want to get a smaller bed for myself and then give this one to my brother. That's what I want to do. Because as much as I want like a really big one, it's like I don't need to. I can just do like a full and I'll be fine. Everything will be okay. Work day is ending soon. I know. It's better give me gold. It's better give me gold. Make it worth it. Nice. Oh. Okay, we got gold. Nice. Okay, that's all I needed to know. Okay, cool. Okay, I keep trying to not have dead silence, but God, I'm so tired. It's okay. Everything's going to be fine. I'm like trying to think of things that would keep me awake, and it's just politicians being miserable. That's upsetting. Our own politicians, politicians for different countries. Then it goes to this big old circle jerk to be like, hey guys, we're doing so well, aren't we? No, you're not. But that's what I'm thinking of in my free time most of the time. Excuse me, little fat. Okay, let's practice your writing, Queen. Right. Sure. I need it all clean. Yeah, this freezes a lot. I hate that, actually. I do hate that. End of shift. Nice. Promote to receptionist. Okay, whatever you say, bruv. Whatever you say. Level 7 writing skill. Okay, you do that. What are you up to? You're hungry, you're tired? I don't have any money. What do I look like to you? Somebody who has things? Of course not. Also, I don't know why you're sitting here to starve when we have food, so please go have some. Onigiri. Let's just do all of them. What's that noise? Oh, full moon. Oh. Girl, go get something to eat. Oh my gosh. One more time. Quick meal. What is going on? Okay. Yeah, you do that. Because I don't know why it's not working. Contemplate life. No, you're supposed to be eating. No, you're supposed to be practicing, sorry. Oh god, what am I doing? Jesus, it's over here. I want my big screen and I want my full range of hand emotion. Because I feel like I'm just not really controlling it like I'm supposed to be. Okay, write, practice writing. Sick. Is she cooking with that ghost, or is he just there? Hey, quit talking to my waifu. Aw. Hey, nobody gets to be her pet but me. How dare you? How dare? And he's gone. And he's back. Jesus. Well, we're 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're 2 out of 9, which is pretty good. I still want to do more though. She wants a dead body. She wants 100,000 household funds. That's a lot of money. I was like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. That's fine. No, it is not. 5? No, that is not. No. Mr. Ghost. Not right now. Different pack. We're playing a different pack. Different pack. Different pack. At least they're hanging out. Inquire about ghostly self. Unnerving scare. Interesting. Okay. Let me fix everybody's needs because I can't be bothered. This is very upsetting. Alter needs. Fill world. Thank you. You can't tell me you're tired. You had all day to sleep. Sure, the babies are up, but you can still sleep. It's fine. Just sleep in the playpen with them. Good lord. Open up. Jesus. Pets writing. There she is. I love how she's the ghost and she doesn't have anything. Museum, the ultimate ghost. You talking about Edith? To brush up on my skills? Huh, interesting. I'm so much. Okay, can you stop? You're a ghost. Just float over it. Jesus. Oh my god. Mop slime creature. Like, hello? I do like it in here though. I am. I should have put some like cracks on the walls and stuff like that and like cobwebs and whatnot. Should have done that. Like small talk. Nah. I prefer Sims who don't like to do small talk because they're less likely to do small talk. As I definitely hate. Yeah, the radios went out. Come. I really want to like a clip, just like a compilation of me speaking nonsense while I'm asleep. It makes no sense to me. But it gets done anyway. Alright, it's Wednesday. You have work on Thursday, you said? 9 hours. Oh right. Oh gosh, okay. Have to do my work stuff. Jesus. After that, go jogging. How do you even garden? Like actually garden, not like weird garden. On my tummy. Okay. Oh, oh, it's Gendry. Oh no, it's not. Oh, I was like, hey, there's a cool person over here. No, they just got taken. It's fine. Jesus, she is so clumsy. What? Why? Why? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've been walking a lot, and my legs feel so like they feel like it's peak legs again. Sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry. My alarm went off just as I was yawning, so that was fun. Um, yes. Where was I? I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, you're at level 7. It doesn't say so. Doesn't say so. Writing. Okay, level 5. Okay. Just 2 more to go. Jesus. Oh god, it's dust bunnies. Okay, this place is awful. This place is awful. It's 3 a.m. You want to switch into your winter clothes? Anybody? Anybody? And I keep seeing on TikTok persons who have like this sleeping potion, and then you read the comments and it's like this is just like lean. It's like, what is this a thing that people that I have to worry about? Like, people just do lean in order to fall asleep? That sounds insane to me. That sounds actually insane to me. So, I'm not sure. I feel like that's a really mean rumor to spread. I don't know. Sorry. We're really just grinding at this point. Trying to get to as many of the things as possible. Come on, get me my writing skill. Okay, wait. I have traits. Yes. Traits. Oh, I could almost afford all of them. Okay. Seldom sleepy, needs no one. I like brave. Maybe another time. Gains all skills much faster. Yep. So we're talking about that's what I like. That's what I like. Okay. Beguiling. I have 1,700. And free services. Speed reader. I don't want free services. Night Owl, inspired creator. Waterproof, speed cleaner, observant. Let's see. I guess I'll pick speed reader. Yeah. This should make things a lot easier. It should. Emphasis on the should. It should make things a lot easier. But yeah, I feel like I've lost a lot of weight. I've only been doing that since like the 1st of January. It's been like what, 3 weeks. I don't get 10K every day, but for the most part, I get like 6,000 to like 9,000 a day, usually between 6 and 8. Um, so that's the only thing. I blacked out again. I have no idea what I was talking about just now. Hopefully, it wasn't anything stupid. Um, Here's the thing: I don't want to end my stream early because then I'm not gonna shower, and if I don't shower, I'm going straight to bed. um, so I want to finish it at like 5:30. It is currently 4:23. Oh wow, that's like an hour and a half. It's almost 2 hours. That's actually kind of crazy. Well, actually no. Yeah, I decided I wanted to end at 5, not 5:30. So yeah, we're gonna be ready in like 30 minutes. The stream's gonna be over. I mean, I feel like we've done pretty good so far. Maybe I should try to romance Grim. I feel like outside of just getting like tarot cards and stuff, that's the only other thing that I'm interested in. So I want to see. Also, speaking of I want to see, I really want a weight scale. I feel like that would be useful because like you get used to yourself after a while. Like if you're not gonna look at yourself for the most part, um, and think, oh yeah, this is exactly how I want to look. Um, I have work in 1 hour. What? Already? I haven't even done my football stuff yet. Oh gosh. Oh, she'll get promoted tomorrow, hopefully. Also, I'm putting body oil on my skin. It's so good. I can't wear it out in the sun because it'll like literally cook me. But it seems pretty nice. I like it. I like how it makes my scent alone. How it makes my skin feel. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty sick. Receptionist. Level 2 the knowledge that yep, that one. Carmen's off to work. I'm sure she is queen. Work normally. I didn't know what to do. I just sat there and stared at it. I didn't know what to do. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Thin Festival is starting now in the Morningvale neighborhood of Ravenwood. Stop by, play a game of chance, learn more about your Reaper career, receive a treat reading, and other gifts. Guardian treat. Okay. After this, wait, she has work, doesn't she? Yep. Any second now, Queen. We have work. We have work. I just want her to level up this one. Thank you. Okay, get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out of my house. Okay, just one is left. This place is so dark. Why is it so pink and purple? I don't get it. Okay. Work hard. That's how fried, my brain is. I was like, oh, we're gonna have to take care of the kids while she's gone. She doesn't have kids. She does not have children. Why? 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 Why am I thinking? Why? God. Okay. I'll do the one that requires skill. Grave mistakes. Oh, flipping through the officer's record, it looks like the plot begins with unsought John Smith. Sadly, no family member contact is listed. Poor John. Oh, so somebody was buried and like their information isn't there anymore. That's kind of crazy. That sucks. I would like to be turned into a tree instead of just stuck in a box at the bottom, so that it doesn't float up so nobody can see me. I would rather just turn into a bush. It'd be fine. Oh, oh God. We're almost there. I'm sorry if I'm making you guys yawn. I'm sorry if I'm making you guys yawn, cause I'm tired. She's not gonna get promoted today. Yay. Okay. Let's go back to writing. Grind time. Grind time. Did somebody just cook food? Who's cooking more food? Excuse me. We're not made of money. Jesus. Come on. Why does it do this? I don't understand. Right? Practice writing. Finding purpose. Find true purpose and radiating with newfound clarity. Vivi now receives a boost to career performance and discounts on all computer purchases. Plus, she can now share her soul's journey. Listens through the share soul's journey, social interaction. Okay. Oh gosh. So I unlocked another one. Cool. I don't know what I don't know what I did to do that, but thanks. Um. Wait. So what does she have down here? Huh. Oh, you and your evil laugh. Jesus. 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 Give me a break. My God. Um. What was I looking for again? Oh yeah, a bucket list. Yes. 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 Um. Sure. Do. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just end at 5 o'clock. It's a couple minutes to 5. I am not doing well at all. The perfect goal. I want a party. I want adventure. I want success. I want a great family. I want to create something else. I don't know. But yeah, after this. Oh Jesus Christ! It's freaking alarms. Um. Yeah, I'm gonna send them to work. What time do you have work? 15 hours. Okay. Okay, that's doable. These things are doable. In fact, let me get rid of these so that when she's ready, she can go jogging. Return grief solving. No, I refuse. Um. Oh, where's the bookshelf? She wants it. Tell me what I want. Really, really, really want. I got it. I got it. I got it. Okay. Romance. No. Same, well, similar, but no. Let's see if I can click on it. Romance, seduction by the sea. Reveal her in from romance. I've seen this before. Clothing optional. Interesting. Oh, this isn't yours. Okay. Wait. Yeah, no, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for skill books. Oh, Jesus. My brain. 2, 3. I better not have sold the first one, because if I sold the first one, I'm gonna be mad. If I sold the first one, I'm gonna be upset. Read this. Hmm. Trying to see if I missed it. I don't think so. Yeah, it's tautology we're working on, not on the romance skill. As much as I think Trisha Paytas deserves, you know, her final mukbang or something, I still want to do this. You're tired? Not for much longer. Hey, dude, you keep hanging out here. We're gay, so unless you're more than an ally. Um, Alter needs, Phil needs the world. Yep. Nice. Okay. So we do need gardening skills still. We need to or what's it called? We need to do writing again as well. See, this is how I'm trying to be. This is how I'm trying to look, okay? Just on my phone, walking around, way downtown. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Nicole. How are you? I was just talking about how I'm just gonna cut the stream short because I'm extremely tired and I have to get ready for school. Um, so yeah, how have you been? How's everything? I hope you're doing well. How's the new year treating you? Any gifts? Any bit like books? Sorry, you see how tired I am. I don't know what's going on right now. Go jog, push your noise. But yeah, this sim we had her in Love Struck. She was supposed to be the Black Widow, but the pack made dating really hard, so we just ended up doing the villainous Valentine's one. And I was like, well, if it's ever gonna be like Black Widow esque, we could try this one. So we got married in Love Struck, then we moved here, and my wife immediately died. So we're being haunted by this ghost. I'm great. How are you? How's school? School is great. School is good. School is great. Um, I'm okay now that I've gotten new medication. The one I had like from October was not doing it for me. Um, so one second. Sorry again. Yeah, school is great. There is a dog somewhere around the place. It's not my dad's dog, but it's a dog somewhere. It's actually the cutest little thing. I'm like, Dad, you need to get a dog. He's like, nah, landlord said I can't have any. But you need a dog. Like, what are we talking about? You need a dog. Like, hello? But he just wasn't hearing it. He was not hearing it. But yeah, in the morning walks, I meet so many animals. I meet so many cats, so many dogs. Right now, my two main objectives are to catch a chicken, okay, and to actually hug one of those like muscle dudes who like their arms can't reach around because they have so much muscle. That's what I'm gonna do. That's all I need. Then my life will be complete. So are you not gonna go jog? Don't make me end this on a bad note. You don't wanna. Yeah, how are you doing? Are you still at school? Are you got like a little work thing going on? What is something just broke? Huh, weird. You guys heard that, right? That static? Huh, interesting. Um, but yeah, this is Vivi De Negra. I uploaded her and the Lovestruck house and the I was gonna say Halloween house, whatever this place is, Ravenwood house. I renovated them, so you could check that out, or you could check out my wife. I don't know. uh, you're still tired? I just fixed you. These people are so needy. Why do you need so many things? Catching a chicken? I feel like it would claw your eyes out, right? But they have like one of my neighbors has like the most beautiful set of little things. Like it's so they're so cute. But anytime I try to like talk to one, they just look like they're really mad at me. It's like I'm not gonna pick you up. I've picked up like random cats before. I'm not picking up a chicken. Not unless he's really down with it all of a sudden. What are you guys doing? Watch Stars with Monica. Aw. In my house? I keep forgetting that this is also her house. I graduated last April and currently at home taking care of my baby. Aw. Stop. Stop. That's oh, that's so cute. Oh man. It's weird being at that age where like everybody starts like having kids and stuff, and I'm just like, oop, I got The Sims to play, got stuff to do. This is very important, very, very, very important stuff right here, guys. Yeah, seriously, I'm so happy for you. Hope everything is all right. I keep checking my time wrong. I keep thinking I'm gonna end at 4:30 when I'm gonna end at 5 and not 5:30. Anyways, yeah, I wish they had more like clothes and stuff, but actual babies, oh, that's so cute. I was gonna say, where did you find one? Please avoid it, bro. I was like, how you got those on Amazon? How'd you get one of those? You got that come with free shipping? Like, I don't have any energy for babies anymore. Um, I used to play with like little dogs, little cats all the time. What is that noise? Um, but now I'm just like, I I just mind my own business and go in the opposite direction. If I really feel like somebody needs help, see, I blacked out again. I don't know what I was talking about just now. Why was I talking about the plane crash? Because it crashed the plane that way. Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I fell asleep for a little bit. I'm fine. Do you think I can do another 20 minutes of this? I don't think so. Plus, it's mostly grinding. It is a lot of grinding. Here's what I will jog again, and then I can save the game. Cause I think we'll do like one more, just to wrap up everything, make sure I do all the promotions, see what it looks like, all that stuff. But for the most part, I feel like we're pretty much done. Um, we do have to bring our wife back to life, but she didn't make a like a necklace or anything for me. So that's interesting. What's with the sparkles? Why is she sparkling? It's like a vampire. Why is she sparkling? Oh God, it's Edwin Cullen. That's the name, right? I never watched the movie. Nice. Finally, okay. Goodbye. Goodbye for who? Who's leaving? Who's dying? Why are we saying goodbye to someone? What's happening? Or is he just saying goodbye to me? Huh, that was weird. I thought he was like, oh, job well. I don't know. I don't know, man. What we need to do now is get to what's it called? We need to um something about the tiny home. Something about it. I can't remember what. I don't remember. Okay. Well, I'm sure it wasn't that important anyway. um, yeah. So next stream, I'm gonna try to do all of the things that I haven't done yet. I'll make sure to have like a guide so that we know what's going on. She needs her gardening. Oh, right. She needs to purchase some gardening books. We got the coin. We got the stash. Items. I haven't taken care of my crow at all. I wonder if it could kill me. I don't know if this pack comes with any if it comes with any deaths. It would be nice to know, but of course not. Writing, wellness. What am I looking for? I'm looking for gardening, archaeology, fabrication, flower arranging, gardening. Hey, nice. Dun, 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 dun. I knew you'd never let me down. Show me. Come on, come on, come on. A little bit further. A little bit. Up, up. Yay, nice. That is a whopping total of $427. I need this to be different. Everything is so cheap. I need to get my computer so I can fix this. Yeah, I'm streaming on my laptop right now because my actual computer is not working. So that's nice. Like it can turn on, but it can't do much of anything else. It keeps freezing and like dying and stuff. I haven't been able to edit any of my YouTube videos. I haven't been able to do anything. I constantly have to plug in my laptop and plug it back out because I carry it to school. So I'm at home, it's plugged in. I'm going to school, I plug it out. I come back home, I plug it in. It's just I can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. Send alone. Especially oh Jesus, my nose. Oof. Oof. Power Conservation Day. Oh no. Did I say I want you guys to? Oh Jesus, she fell. This place is disgusting. I will not lie to you. This house is absolutely rancid. Probably smells like mothballs in here. Okay. Let me in. There we go. Nice. I know my Sim's not gonna get promoted, but is your wife gonna get promoted? Oh, it's Love Day tomorrow. Okay, yeah, this is probably a great place to stop then. It's Love Day tomorrow. Grave mistakes. Poor John. Oh, it's the same thing. Okay. Reach level 2. Okay. This is doable. We can do this. I didn't know you could stream directly from the laptop. Yeah. It's not easy. Yeah, I have my Sims like on really low settings. I can't play stuff like Oxygen Not Included or like Stardew, even though they look small. They don't run, at least for my laptop, they don't run that great. So this is literally the only thing that I can play on this, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, you just download OBS. Set your stuff up from there. I exported my OBS to my laptop, so it has everything there except like the alerts and stuff. Um, but yeah, that's the plan. That's the big idea. It's I wouldn't suggest getting a gaming laptop because those are really expensive for no reason. If you do already have a laptop, see how you can play The Sims like on like the lowest setting, like low. Um, Sometimes being outside of full screen helps. Not for me though. Um, but yeah, what was I talking about? I don't know what I was on about, but yeah. Next time we will take them to the romantic festival. We'll like sort their whole thing out. We'll get them promoted and whatnot. All that good stuff. Any day now. Yeah, good for you, Queen. I'm gonna try. Yeah, you definitely should. Um, and for OBS, I think I turned my settings down to like 360, so it doesn't stream in like HD. That's the only issue. It does not film in HD. Okay. Level 7 writing skill. All right. Looks like we're done for today. So, again, thank you guys so much for being here. This was fun. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed the stream, you can sorry. Okay, there we go. Yeah, if you enjoyed the stream, you can you like follow me on here, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all that fun stuff. Um, there's also the music just got so quiet. um, yeah, Discord if you want to check us out in that. I don't have a schedule, so that would be the best place for right now. Um, get your rest for school good night. Yeah, I'm definitely trying. Cause oh boy, this is gonna be a struggle. But yeah, Okay, let's go SMH mark raid. SMH mark sub raid. I don't even know who I'm raiding. Hold on, let me check. Let me check. Do 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 do. Okay. Um, who have we not seen in a minute? Mispronunciation. Uh, somebody's building. Hmm. Yeah, I think we're gonna go to the person who is building. Yay! Start raid. Nice. Okay. Um. Yeah. Is it not sub raid? Uh oh. Uh oh. Well, I'll just leave the raid. It's okay. Because for some reason the chat bot isn't working. But yeah, don't forget to follow me here, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. Wish list if you want to help. If I can spit list, there we go. Well, it's not showing anything at all. But yeah, anyways, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. You're dope, and I'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Okay, around this time tomorrow. Goodbye.